Hello and a warm welcome to NTA Nationwide. I am Olajide Bello. Many thanks for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has written to the National Assembly informing of his desire to extend his leave in order to complete and receive the result of a series of tests recommended by his doctors. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says the President has planned to return to Abuja Sunday evening, but was advised to complete the test cycle before returning. Mr. Adesina states that the notice has since been dispatched to the Senate President and Speaker, House of Representatives. Mr. President expresses his sincere gratitude to Nigerians for their concern, prayers and kind wishes. A report quoting the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, are saying President Muhammadu Buhari's return to Nigeria may be hampered by a faulty aircraft has been described as fake and untrue. A statement by the Special Assistant to the Minister, Segun Adeyemi, reveals that Alhaji Mohammed has not spoken to anyone on the issue of the President's return, and as such, the report should be disregarded. In Abuja, the federal government continues its consultative meetings with various stakeholders for their contributions into a planned economic recovery and growth program for the country to run from 2017 to 2020. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, while welcoming investors at an ongoing meeting, says the federal government considers private sector participation in the economy as crucial to achieving its planned program, especially in taking the country out of recession.
Some are out in the streets protesting. Many of our people are saying the same things, that things are hard, that things are difficult. But I'd like to say to every Nigerian that we hear you loud and clear. The government is one that is determined to give the ordinary man a fair deal. You have the right to live well and decently, and we are committed to making that happen. But years of deterioration and corruption cannot be remedied overnight. But again, I must emphasize that it is our business and our duty to ensure that we put the Nigerian economy on a path of sustained growth, and that is exactly what we're determined to do.
To enable an interfacing between the federal government and citizens to intimate the populace about the journey so far, a town hall meeting held in Ilorin, Kwara State. The meeting had in attendance governors from the geopolitical zones as well as 5 ministers gathered to give account of their stewardship at the event. The Minister of Health reiterated his commitment in ensuring that adequate health care, especially the poor. In the same vein, the Minister of Water Resources stated that the water sector will restructure the river basin targeted at improving agriculture in the country. The Minister of State, Trade and Investment emphasized that the ministry is focusing on the issue of investment, particularly in the agricultural sector, and is looking to focus on tomatoes. A pilot project towards the deployment of solar home systems in rural communities of Nigeria has been inaugurated by Acting President Yemi Osinbajo with the commitment of promoting economic activities and social well-being of the people.
Pleasure and privilege to declare and to commission the solar home systems in use in the village of Wuna, and this is going to be the beginning of the deployment of solar home systems and solar power to very many villages all over Nigeria.
For details, stay tuned to Power Links tonight, immediately after the NTA Network News. The federal government says it is not in competition with state governments, but would want to establish a partnership and collaboration that works with them to move the country forward. Minister of Power, Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola stated this in Abakaliki while exchanging views with Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi. Charles Ubomalu reports.
The Power, Works and Housing Minister said from his observations and interactions with government officials since his arrival in the state, He has no doubt that Ebonyi State is a perfect example of the kind of partnership and synergy the federal government wants to establish with state governments. He commended the state government on its intervention activities on federal routes in the state and promised that the federal housing project earmarked for the state will soon take off. Mr. Fashola pleaded with Nigerians over the current poor state of power supply in the country, which he said will stabilize in the next few weeks.
We've been to Ishago, we've passed through Newe, we've been through Afipo to get here to Abakaliki, and we've seen various stages of work. I bring you very, very warm and glad tidings from His Excellency, President and Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari.
Responding, Governor David Umahi said his government's intervention activities on federal routes in the state was informed by the importance of road development as a catalyst to economic well-being of any society. Governor Umahi appealed to the minister for the refund of about 35 billion naira so far spent by the state government on federal government roads in the state. The governor also called for the inclusion in the 2017 federal budget of the construction of 2 bridges at Oferebe and Afibo area to link Ebonyi with Cross River State.
So totally, sir, we have over 35 billion we have injected into the federal roads. We only got reimbursed for 2 billion. So we'll be pleading with you, sir, and very passionately to see what you can do for us.
Some of the federal roads in Ebonyi State inspected by the minister are the Ohafia-Osoeda Road, which contract was awarded since 2012. He urged the contractor handling the project to speed up work as government is now ready to fund the project, which suffered as a result of paucity of funds. The Power Works and Housing Minister was also at the 11-kilometer Ishiago-Ebonyi State spur of the Nenwe-Oduma-Ubru Road, where work is progressing. In Abakaliki, Charles Ibwamalo, NTN News.
The Minister of Power Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, has assured the Anambra State Governor, Chief Willie Obiano, of federal government's readiness to reimburse about 43 billion naira spent on federal government roads on the state. Benson Osadebe reports that the minister also inspected the second Niger bridge during the visit.
The minister announced that the federal government is presently working out modalities for the reimbursement of monies spent by the state on its projects. Babatunde Fashola emphasized the need for the state governments to work closely with controllers of works towards the successful completion of federal government projects in the states.
But we will do our best to continue to finance those contracts and ensure that contractors deliver within their time frame. Part of also ensuring prompt completion is prompt monitoring, efficient monitoring. So we're monitoring with our.
The House of Representatives Committee on Steel and Power has joined the advocacy for increased funding for solid minerals exploration in the country. This is with a view to maximizing the economic potentials in the sector. The lawmakers made the commitment during a visit to National Steel Raw Materials Exploration Agency in Kaduna as part of their oversight functions. Benny Adams has details.
With conclusions about to be reached on the concession of the Maribon Ajakuto Steel Complex and that of Itapa, the National Steel Raw Materials Exploration Agency has intensified efforts at searching for adequate raw materials for the companies, with exploration sites in Kogi, Enugu, Taraba, and Bauchi states, hence the need for increased funding.
Without this agency, there will be no progress in the steel sector because we identify the raw materials. We cannot continue to import billets and roll and just say we are making steel. No. So, but if the sector is well funded as we are experiencing now, and we are busy looking for sources of these raw materials so that Ajakuta and other steel rolling mills will always have raw materials to produce steel, then that is the basis of our industrialization. And that is the basis of the development of the nation.
Lawal Idrisu is the chairman, House Committee on Steel.
Most especially, we want those places to work. With what we are getting from here, we might be able to get Ajakuta and Itakpe to work.
The House committee members were taken around the agency complex. In Kaduna, Benny Adams, NTA News.
The imperative of addressing environmental matters for national development was the prominent feature at the budget defense session of the House Committee on Environment and Habitat. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports that the parastatals under the Federal Ministry of Environment appeared before the committee.
In view of the obvious importance of environmental matters to budgeting and national development, the agencies under the Ministry of Environment recalled the provisions of the 2016 budget for environment, which included projects and programs targeted at environmental health protection, safety, sustainability, and preservation of the ecosystem. And while presenting their 2017 budget estimates, they lamented their inability to complete ongoing projects and undertake new ones due to insufficient funds.
We have constructed 5 skill acquisition centers in 5 states. Based on if we start to get our own ecological fund, the other states, we are going to build them all.
The amount we are spending to keep polio out as a result of the IDP situation will become reasonable if sanitary action is supporting this.
Appreciative of the global economic constraints, which is one of the reasons for the poor releases of funds, the members advised the agencies not to fully depend on government funding, but step up activities that will enhance the internally generated revenue through public-private partnership approach.
I've seen some agencies who have been proactive and made good use of the funds given to them. Basically, some of the things we can do is to advocate to the executive to give them more funds and for us to monitor them to make sure there are no wastages, no frivolous spending, and no underhand cuttings and somebody taking the budget and putting in his pocket.
The committee also implored the parastatals to be more explicit in their budget presentation to it in further sittings as to avoid ambiguity in understanding and deliberations of their budget profile by members. Meanwhile, budget defense by the Minister of Environment, Amina Mohammed, was rescheduled a yet-to-be-communicated date to enable the members have thorough study of the documents presented. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Away from the legislature, imbibing international best practices and ports procedures and regulations are identified to be the antidote to recurrent clearance of contraband into the country. This was the submission of experts while discussing shipment inspection in Nigeria. Questions arising on NTA's program, Good Morning Nigeria. Oyeyemi Ajayi has the details.
The discussion was coming against the backdrop of the clearing of 661 pump-action rifles, which were later intercepted by the customs. Discussants on Good Morning Nigeria said what obtains at the Nigerian ports is outdated and that the system needs overhauling.
The police will tell you this is IG. Another one will tell you this is the commissioner's representative. Another one will tell you this is from the Zone 2 representative. What are they doing? They are all there to slow down the process of cargo clearing. And let me tell you, we lost the position of Nigeria as a hub of West Africa to a tiny Togo.
Among all the ports in the world, the Nigerian port is operating in the 19th centuries. Don't let me say 18th centuries. The way the processes that people go through to clear their cargo is quite making it very, very frustrating for our customers.
The presence of too many agencies at the port is another obstacle identified by the discussants that need to be addressed. They advocated technology-driven port system that will involve little contact with people so as to reduce corruption and cumbersome procedures.
Practice now is that transportation is technology-driven. As most of these things are done seamlessly, and you don't need to see an importer in order to determine the kind of goods he has imported.
If this one had passed through, only God knows, like you said, how many could have passed through before now. There are people whose job is to beat the system. So the more they are thinking of how to beat the system, the more proactive the security agency should be in beating the system too, their own system.
The customs cited false declaration by the importers as another reason for slow clearance, as physical inspection of cargo must be carried out.
If the sales scanners were there, like this case we are talking about, this thing wouldn't have happened. That's one. Two, all our importers, all our agents, they lack what can say truthful declaration. If they're honest with their declarations, there won't be any need for all this electric physical examination.
The discussants noted that until Nigeria cues into modern ports operation and management, smaller ECOWAS nations will continue to be preferred to the country. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Let's now join Jennifer in our Lagos Network Center for details on Youth Conference on Entrepreneurship and Monitoring. Hello, Jennifer.
Good evening and a warm welcome to Lagos. Unemployment can be effectively tackled if youth in the country can identify their passion and turn their challenges into opportunities. This was a submission of young entrepreneurs at a one-day conference on youth entrepreneurship and mentoring organized by a non-governmental organization in Lagos. Musa Tuliat completes the report.
8 outstanding young entrepreneurs and astute business personalities were invited by the organizers of the youth conference to share their experiences in business plans and development. They also offered some level of mentoring to youths in attendance with a view to encouraging them to take a bold step in entrepreneurship based on their passion. The panelists were drafted from various fields of endeavors including healthcare, information technology, wellness, fashion and style, as well as agriculture, entertainment, politics, and personality development.
We want you to leave where you are right now, see the future. Things might be very rough right now, but once you believe that it can be done and there's a whole determination, I believe the sky is the limit.
My biggest business tip of all would be to be able to continuously learn.
Your passion is useless if you have no one that has the problem. So turn it into a business and be the best at it. People only pay for things that they consider the very best.
Be consistent, be passionate about it, and do not take no for an answer.
The conference tagged Unstuck from Stress to Success also afforded participants the opportunity to network with their desired mentors.
A lot of Nigerian youths have gotten stuck in what the society limitations are sold to them. It's not much about what is not working in the society. It's much more about what is not working in your mind.
Free medical screening and consultation was an integral part of the Unstuck Youth Conference 2017. In Lagos, Musa Tolian, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy has received medical supplies and equipment to the tune of $1.2 million from an American non-governmental organization, MedShare International, through its Nigerian representative, Ephraim Inameti. Adiola Omokive reports that the handing over ceremony took place at the Nigerian Navy Referral Hospital, Navy Town, Ojo, Lagos.
The medical supplies and equipment donated to the Nigerian Navy Medical Services include 24 Hill Room Advanta, 26 Striker S2 hospital beds with mattresses, 120 pieces of medical equipment, and about 4,000 boxes of brand new medical supplies. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Eteibas, represented at the ceremony by the Chief of Administration Naval Headquarters, Rear Admiral Henry Babalola, said the Navy gives special attention to the health and well-being of its personnel. He stated that the Navy has expanded their medical services to the general public.
The committee will further directed to ensure that they are equitably distributed to hospitals, to medical centers, and the sick bays. And the Chief of the Naval Staff, too, in his magnanimity, has also directed that we should give part of this equipment to internally displaced persons camps in the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Representative of MedShare International, Ephraim Inameti, noted that about 57% of Navy medical services are being provided to the civilian population. He commended the Nigerian Navy personnel for selecting online only supplies needed for their hospitals and medical centers.
I saw the resources here. I said, okay, I think I can do something about it. This is my country. If I don't do it here, where will you do it?
Meanwhile, a special 2-week training and repair session has been slated for this month, where Navy biomedical technicians, engineers, doctors, and nurses will be trained in Lagos. Adeola Omokivi, NTA News.
Food items and drugs worth millions of naira have been distributed to internally displaced persons in Lagos. Annie Daniels reports that it was at the flag-off of the health screening and intervention exercise in the Southwest Zone put together by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons in collaboration with the Nigerian Air Force and Republic of Trinidad and Tobago.
Following cases of insecurity in some parts of the country, especially in the northeast, which led to the displacement of several Nigerians, the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has swung into action in meeting the needs of the victims. Honorable Commissioner for the Commission, Sadia Omar Farouk, says the gesture is in line with federal government's resolve to cater for the needs of displaced persons, as well as ensure the resettlement of the victims.
We want to come up with empowerment programs, skills acquisitions, where we can train these people on how to, acquire skills that they can depend on and start life all over again.
Deputy Head of Mission, Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Gav Lamsi, and representative of the Chief of Air Staff, Sadiq Abubakar, co-sponsors of the program, noted the impact of these on the people and stressed the need to give them a sense of belonging.
It's a generation of people that are at risk. And if Trinidad and Tobago is in a position, our resources are quite limited.
Seeing the people who are sick, giving them drugs for their ailments, and seeing from the population, those of them who need further care, for whom we can care in our medical facilities.
IDPs numbering over 2,000 were presented with various food items and we are given free medical checks.
I lost my father and still again they still bought my house. I have no way to stay in my state. What they are trying to do is that they are trying to give us hope.
The medical intervention exercise is a continuous one. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
You're still watching the NTA Nationwide News. Time to join Olajide Bello in Abuja for more reports.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, from our Lagos Network Center there. Moving on, the Eastern Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy says it has succeeded in uprooting, destroying and disposing illegal refineries and equipment worth about 3 billion naira in its just concluded Operation River Sweep. Flag officer of the command, Rear Admiral James Oluwole, explained this to newsmen at the end of the exercise. Kingsley and Marjorie reports.
Operation River Sweep followed the directive of the Chief of Naval Staff to the Eastern Naval Command to rid the creeks and rivers of the activities of crude oil thieves, illegal oil bunkering and refineries, and other nefarious activities along the One-Bonny waters. At the end of the exercise, which lasted from January 8 to February 4, 2017, the command arrested 5 suspects and 3 vessels engaged in maritime crimes, destroyed 40 illegal refineries, 60 wooden boats and 4 speedboats, among others.
Aside the physical destructions of the site, the new strategy helps to further destroy the chain of criminality involved in these nefarious acts. The strategy could therefore be considered as a model for crushing any illegal refinery sites once and for all, and without the fear of the criminals reorganizing or resurfacing again.
The GOC further said the naval operation has drastically reduced cases of sea robbery and illegal operations of oil vandals within its command. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Kano State Police Command has arrested 840 suspected persons in the metropolis for various offences. Parading the suspect, Police Public Relations Officer Magaji Musa said the arrest followed joint operations with other security agencies in the state. Murtala Hamza reports.
The 840 suspected criminals were arrested in various parts of the metropolis, including Kantunkwari, Market, IBB Way, and some part of Sabangari area, among others. Police Public Relations Officer Magaji Musa Majie said the arrest followed massive operation jointly conducted by the police and other security agencies in the state.
We have an intelligence report that some people are coming from Northeast with pretext of being internally displaced person, and some even foreigners be thrown into the Kano without any substances means of living.
He said 111 of the 840 are foreigners, while 53 come from the northeast, as well as 67 underage suspected to be Almajiris.
I'm from Benue State.
What time were you arrested?
Arrested by 12.
Benue State. From Benue State. Why do you choose to come to Kano?
Notice, it's one of my sister that direct me to come here. I just like Kano. I just like Kano.
The public relation officer said the foreigners will be handed over to the Nigerian Immigration Service, while the rest will be charged to court after investigation. He also called on any foreigners who live in the state illegally to go back to their respected countries. In Kano, Murtala Abdullahi Hamza, NTA News.
Benue and Taraba state government take steps to enhance peace and security. For these and more, let's join Pam in Makadi. Hello, Pam.
Salayu, welcome to Makudi. Benue and Taraba state governments have agreed to swap Mu district and Chachengi that have generated crises in the past to Benue and Taraba states, respectively. This is part of the steps taken during a security and peace meeting held by the two states to restore peace to the areas. Achigili Magaji reports that the two governors at whose instance the meeting took place were in attendance.
For several years, the border communities between the two states have witnessed crises leading to loss of several lives and property. More worrisome is the annexing of villages by invaders on both sides. Governor Samuel Otom and his Taraba state counterpart, Ishaku Darius Dixon, who met at the border town of Gar before proceeding to the troubled spot, said, "The meeting is that of commitment to safety of lives and property, as well as confidence building." They assured the people that the National Boundary Commission and all relevant stakeholders will be engaged to demarcate the borders and permanently restore peace to the areas.
We have agreed that more remains in Benue State. And we have also agreed that Chachengi remains in Taraba State.
And we must agree to believe that what Governor Otom will do for a Diko man in Benue State, I should be able to do to a team man in Taraba State.
Some members of the communities who recounted their ugly experiences expressed gratitude to the two governors for their commitment to restoring normalcy to the areas. The two governors later hosted major stakeholders at the Kashimbila Multipurpose Dam, where they were briefed on the outcome of the meetings held in Kashimbila Takun local government area of Taraba State. Achigili Magaji, NTA News.
Taraba State Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku says he is determined to improve the educational sector in the state. The governor stated this while inaugurating the head office of the West African Examination Council, WAEC, in Jalingo, where he also presented a utility vehicle to the office. Joseph Saundo Sen reports that the facility was built by the state government.
The idea to have a head office in Taraba State for the West African Examination Council, WAEC, according to the State Ministry of Education, has been in the pipeline for about 25 years. With a firm commitment to improving the educational sector in the state, Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku says he couldn't hesitate when the ministry presented a proposal for the construction of an office block to serve as head office of WAEC and provision of a utility vehicle to enable it to operate better. He emphasized that if the state and nation must develop and grow like other powerful economies of the world, then education, which has the potential of impacting on other sectors, must be given priority.
The standard of our education has been quite low. The cheering news is that we've risen from 42% to 67%. That is a cheering news, and I hope that you improve from that 67 to above 80.
Responding to the gesture, the head of state administration at WAEC headquarters, Mrs. Frances Iwiha Inugu, who represented the WAEC boss, thanked the state government for facilitating WAEC operations in the state, maintaining that it will be of great service not just to the office, but to the people of the state. Meanwhile, the state government says it has allocated a plot of land for the building of a more befitting WAEC office at the same premises. In Jalingo, Joseph Saundu O10, NTA News.
And that will be it from Makudi. Ola, it's over to you for the rest of Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Pam. You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Let's pause for some messages. More reports shortly. Stay with us.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
Taxation for national development is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Tuesday Live, informative, educative, and interactive. Don't be told. Join us.
On a white sheet of exam paper, I am calm like a sniper, bam like a piper, glam like a rapper. I'm never a slacker.
Fail like a failure.
How was your result?
This wicked girls here was gave me.
Then give me.
They gave me 7 E's.
This week on your award-winning comedy series, Professor John Bull, starring Kanayo Okanayo, Mercy Johnson, Queen Wokoye, Yomi Fash Lanso, Stephen Odingbe.
Address me as the Ono. My title is waiting for me.
Oh no, we're waiting.
Anang.
Ono.
Mr. Owowu.
No, I can't take that. Olowu. Hey, I don't like all this.
What is that name they call you all over the campus?
Flashbird with a big splash, depending on how you want to lash.
Big name that kills a small dog.
Professor John Bull, fasten your seatbelts this Tuesday and Friday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. on NTA Network, International, and Star Times. It's absolutely bombastic.
Over and out.
Welcome to the new speed of life.
Do you crave class? Do you have taste? And do you care about comfort? If you do, then for your next event, a stay away from home, a business trip, or a holiday, visit Jade's Hotel at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Check out our world-class services, exquisite suites, restaurant and bar, gymnasium, spa and grills, and our outdoor catering services and cuisines. At Jade's, it can only be better. For bookings and reservations, visit us today at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, or visit www.jadeshotels.com. Our email address is info@jadeshotels.com.
You can also call us on 09291-9321 or 0810-909-7956.
Jade's Hotels, welcome to life.
The federal government's social investment program has begun. The poorest and most vulnerable in the land get 5,000 naira monthly, and phase 1 has started in 9 states of the federation. 200,000 unemployed graduates have been engaged in the N-Power Volunteer Corps, designed to engage 500,000 people. 5.5 million children will be fed regularly in the homegrown school feeding program, which kicked off in 3 states last year, with 9 more to be added this year. And under the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, thousands of cooperatives, market women, farmers, and enterprising youth have been receiving between 10,000 and 100,000 naira soft loans since November 2016. The Social Investment Program has begun. It can only get better. We promise change. Change is here.
Many thanks for being there. And if you're just joining us, this is NTA Nationwide. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, has directed troops deployed to southern Kaduna to move into the forest and fish out criminals responsible for the recent crisis. He gave the directive while in Kaduna for the foundation of the newly approved Nigerian Army Forward Operations Base in Kafanchan. The first correspondent, Ismail Musa, has details.
The first point of call was Niti, a community in Jama'a local government area, southern Kaduna, the first victim of May 2016 crisis.
Army, since they come here, we get better. Every day we are happy.
For years, these agrarian community and herdsmen, both alleged parties in the unfortunate incident that later spread to Godogodo, Manchok, and Samarun Kataf, lived together peacefully. It is encouraging to see the parties involved in the recent southern Kaduna crisis reunite and live in peacefully. What is important is how to ensure the sustenance of this relationship. Southern Kaduna has in the past experienced series of crises, but with the President Muhammadu Buhari recent approval for the establishment of the Nigerian Army Forward Operation Base in Kafanchan and Kachia, this might be the last.
It will be the last one, not only because of what we are doing, investing in security, but because we are going to prosecute those that caused this mayhem.
First phase of this project is going to be in the form of a forward operating base, and from there we develop it to a full battalion. Be rest assured, in the next 3 months, the FOB will be ready.
The Army Chief earlier encouraged troops stationed in the area to adhere strictly to the rules of engagement, but deal decisively with criminal elements, and urged traditional rulers to support the quest for lasting peace and unity. From Kachia in Kaduna State.
With the commencement of the enforcement of speed limiting device by the Federal Road Safety Corps across the country, motorists in Kaduna have urged relevant authorities to subsidize the cost of the device. This explains why motorists are yet to comply with the directive. The report.
2017 was the deadline for the enforcement of the speed limiting device in commercial vehicles. In the first phase, the introduction of the device is part of effort by the FRSC to reduce considerably the high rates of road crashes with its attendant fatalities. But with the commencement, motorists complain on the cost of the device.
If they say it's like 5,000 naira or 10,000 naira, we can avoid it. But that 40,000 naira is too expensive for us.
Officials of the Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers lend credence to the complaints of the motorists.
We complain about the money, the price of it. Because most of our vehicles that are in the park here, it did not come with a speed limit. But now that I want to introduce it, all of us will buy it and put it in our car. And very, very, very costly.
The Kaduna State Federal Road Safety Corps Sector Commander Francis Udoma said there are penalties for defaulters.
About 59 motorists or drivers were arraigned before the courts, and 54 were convicted for failure to install speed limiting device. Out of 50 that were apprehended, only one driver installed speed limiting device.
He emphasized that safety of lives is paramount in their drive to checkmate the rate of accidents on Nigerian roads. In Kaduna, I am Indian and Deabagyan, NTA.
And now to health matters. Key players in the health sector have identified accountability and proper management of funds as critical in changing the narratives of inadequate financing in the sector. Uchenwezu reports that this was the submission as a 5-day workshop on healthcare financing underway in Abuja.
Issues of insufficient funds in the health sector have over the years been the bane of effective output in the sector. But as the popular saying goes, if what is desirable is not available, then the available becomes desirable. This workshop for health actors from Bauchi, Kaduna, Niger and Sokoto states is therefore to equip them on how to maximize available finances for effective universal health coverage.
We have to put accountability and governance system in place to ensure that the little amount of money that is going to health is well spent. There is issue of equity to ensure that we are spending money on the right people. We are spending money on the right service. We are spending money to get the necessary quality of care that is needed.
The forum is also to further strengthen the states in building institutions and policy frameworks for supporting healthcare financing reforms.
We have already go into MOU, ensure financing of primary healthcare services.
It is the states that implement. The federal government does not. So what we will do, following up and going forward, is give them the technical support to ensure that whatever they roll out here is implemented.
A communique is expected at the end of the workshop on Friday. Uchenwezu, NTA News.
In an effort to eliminate phobia for mathematics through the advancement of education in the country, the Nigerian Tulip International College has organized this year's mathematics competition for primary schools. Justin Bemoye, who was at the FCT Examination Center, reports that the competition underscores the importance of mathematics as a key subject in the sciences.
We live in an age of astonishing advances. Innovation of world-first digital laser, launch of space shuttles, smart robots doing dumb jobs, stunning ultra-modern architectural designs, while we communicate wirelessly on a vast worldwide network. But underlying all these modern wonders, experts say there is something deep and mysteriously powerful, described as the language of the universe, and perhaps civilization's greatest achievements. It is named mathematics. Despite its undisputed relevance, the subject mathematics, however, is perceived as dreaded by many, especially the young ones, having a phobia for it. With the Nigerian Tulip International College's 14th annual mathematics competition for primary school children, supported by the Nigeria Mathematical Center, it is expected that the interest of Nigerian pupils in the subject will be spurred.
It will really assist for their science-oriented subjects, and they will show a better performance for their courses. And also, we offer scholarship to students who are successful.
Ours is also to see how we bring up young ones, not just training them, teaching them the simplest way, but bringing them to a point where they will be comparatively competitive internationally.
In order to catch them young and see the talents hidden in there to bring them up to the international level. That's essentially the motive for this exercise that we are on today.
Over 3,000 registered pupils of primary 5 and 6 simultaneously sat for the exam in 50 different centers across the country, with the outstanding performers standing to gain scholarships into NTIC as well as cash rewards. In Abuja, Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Away from education matters now to religious matters. To effectively overcome the current economic and security constraints, Nigerians must unite in prayers, love and remain committed in service to their fatherland. This was the view of religious church leaders during Sunday's church service in Abuja. Tessie Justin Bisang completes the story.
Speaking on the topic, responding to God's love, Pastor Ikenna Okeke of the Father's Church admonished Christians to constantly reflect on God's love to humanity as a reminder of their responsibility to effect change.
The country is blessed. We have weather, we have resources, but the people are not looking to bless the country from leadership to followership. When that combination is good, we will enjoy the country and the country will enjoy us.
In a similar message, Pastor Tunde Benjamin Slaniyi of the Redeemed Christian Church of God charged Nigerians to be united in prayer as the solution to all problems. He emphasized the need for harmonious living in anticipation of better days ahead. Others emphasized the importance of individual change, which they noted must reflect in relationships and in service to humanity.
And the Bible says that faith without works is dead. So, not only for us to pray, but we must live the life, Christian life, so we can use that even to impact our communities.
If we as a people want leaders who are straight, upfront with us, then we have to be people who are also straight and upfront. We get what we deserve. We can cry as much as we want about the leadership, but the truth is the change begins with us.
On the part of government, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelema, gave an assurance that government is doing all it can to improve the lives of the citizenry.
So it's very important that we have a good report for our country, because God has said so, and I believe that will then eventually follow. So I'm confident that a better country awaits us, but we're going to possess that better country collectively as a people.
Prayers were offered for the church and national development. Tessie Justin Bisong, NTA News.
Women, as the pillar of the church, have been admonished to take their place of prayer and intercessory, as well as live a life of modesty for the well-being of the church. This was at the Synodical Women's Guild of the North Retreat in Abuja. While brainstorming on how to advance the cause of the gospel in the lives of women, with the theme The Unstoppable, the church reverend challenged Christians to be steadfast and abounding in the work of God, which can never be in vain.
The context of that theme is very missionary, because the people of God were not stopped despite the circumstances, despite the persecution, despite the trouble, the trials and tribulations they were confronted with in the Acts of the Apostles. They were not stopped from bearing witness to the love of God and the truth of God wherever they went.
They were also admonished to humble themselves under the mighty hands of God, so that he will exalt them in due time. Christian clerics have urged citizens to rededicate themselves to the service of God and that of humanity, as this will provoke God's mercy to restore the fortunes of the nation. It was the central message of the sermon preached in some churches visited in Abuja. Kenneth Nanim reports.
It is the first Sunday in the second month of the new year, and the congregation gathered from far and near to lay their burden upon the cross of Jesus, who they believe will solve their problems. The worshippers praised and worshipped God for his benevolence to mankind. Venerable Prince Will Iroba of St. James Anglican Church, Asokoro, and Reverend Levi Johnson of the Assemblies of God Church, Garki, reminded the faithful of the scriptural injunction of a selfless service. The clerics also urged Nigerians to eschew all forms of wrongdoing, embrace love for one another, and persevere in hard work, with the conviction that God will turn the present economic situation in the country around for the better.
If every person works not just for what he will gain, it will be well with us. It is when people are idle that they get themselves involved in some evil and planning and killing others.
If the nation of Nigeria, citizens of this nation, make themselves available to God Almighty, understanding that is fearful and wonderful, that God will serve as a consuming fire, they make themselves available to him, they will live in righteousness and love to one another.
Special prayers were offered for leaders at all levels, the church and other citizens in their need. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
You're still on to NTA Nationwide. We'll take a short break. The news continues shortly.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people.
Many thanks for being there. And our sports. Badminton Federation said to distribute mats to all the states to boost its developmental programs as Cameroon coach Hugo Bruce solicits his players for winning 5th African title. Details on our sport update.